What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Skyfolk Academy. Um, this is our first video, and I'm so excited to have you here today. I'm hoping you're gonna get valuable information from this channel. Um, so, if you haven't yet subscribed, consider subscribing, and you can also like this video and share the video to your loved ones. Um, this is official channel where we gonna be sharing tutorials, help and support of our products and services, and I'm so excited with this journey. So today we're gonna look at something that we interact with each and every day. Whether you want to access the social media, whether you are doing a research, whether you want to interact with anything online, um, there's this basic um, technology that we use called the web. So join us today as we explore what is web and its technologies. So I hope you do enjoy the video, and um, let's don't leave without subscribing. So what exactly is the web? We could categorize the web into three different entities. That's www, the internet, and the web documents. So www is a vast network of connected information across the world. This information is hosted on different servers that are set up in different regions or other countries. Uh, a connection of all these entities is what we call the internet. And the information accessed via the internet is what we call the web documents. These are the interlinked documents and resources, accessed um, through the browsers on the internet. Um, how does the web work? The web works in a client server model. A client side is the what you have on your phone or computer. This is the browsers, like Chrome, Firefox, Safari. Um, there's no this. It doesn't matter the browser you're using. All browsers are all clients, and all these clients interact with something called web servers. We have different types of web servers. We have servers like Apache, which is actually used by many webs. We have NGX, and a whole lot of web servers available out there. Now, this cycle of request from the client and the response from the server, you know, this model is what makes the web work. So, what are the core web technologies for the web? Um, Websites are basically made up of three main technologies, three basic technologies, which is the HTML, the CSS, and JavaScript. So HTML is the structure of web pages. These include tags like header elements, p tags, h1 tags. So basically, these tags are the structures that makes a web page live. Um, and literally um, all web pages available out there, all of them, the basic structure is the HTML. Now, to make this structure a little bit, look more appealing, um, we use something called CSS. CSS is also a type of styling language. With these, you could be able to control the colors, the fonts, and the layouts of the webs. Now, to make these web pages more interactive, we use something called JavaScript. Now, um, you might be asking yourself how animations and cool effects happen on the websites, or rather on the web pages. Now, all this happens through a core technology called JavaScript. Uh, all these elements, together with other new frameworks that come to the market day by day, are what makes the web work. We'll dive a little bit deeper for us to understand the essential web concepts. We have something called URL, we have something called HTTP stroke HTTPS, DNS, and web hosting. Whenever you want to access a specific website over the internet, you could type on your browser, something like, let's say you want to access the Facebook, you could type something on your browser, something like www.facebook.com. Now, that specific address called www.facebook.com is what we call the URL. Now, the different protocols that can be used alongside, accessing resources over the internet. This is HTTP stroke HTTPS. Now, these protocols work the same to transfer data between the client and the server. But the main difference between HTTP and HTTPS is the fact that HTTP serves web pages across insecure environment, while HTTPS transfers data securely across the web. So already from that explanation, you can understand the importance of using HTTPS protocol. And in order for you to use HTTPS protocol, the specific security measures that you need to take into place while making your website live, of which we'll look later on in the course of our tutorials. We also have something called DNS. Now, normally whenever you host a resource on the server, it's allocated a specific IP which can be used to identify the resource across the internet. Now, if we were to identify or rather access websites across the internet through the IP, it will be a tedious work. And that's why a new method was created called DNS, where we could map a specific domain to that IP, so that whenever you type a domain to the browser, this domain is translated to IP of that website, and now it can be accessed. Now, all this translation of the between IP and the domain is done by something called DNS server. Of course, you might build your website, code it, but for it to be accessed by everyone over the internet, it has to be hosted somewhere. This is what we call web hosting. Now, we have different types of hosting out there. Now, this is the actual server, or rather data centers that are installed in different regions. We have different types of servers. Servers like Google Cloud, Amazon Web Services. We have something like Skyfall Cloud, Bluehost. So it's actually upon you to choose specific service that you might need. So during the development of the websites, we have front end and back end. Now, front end, these are the visible elements to the user. So what you see on your browser is actually the front end of the web, and it's something that works also at the back end, which has all the logic of that website. This is what we call the back end. Now, front end is, now I'm pretty sure you've ever heard of something called a UI UX design. So this is what makes the front end of the website, and this can be done through a couple of technologies such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and a couple of frameworks like React, Angular, Vue.js. It's actually good to understand all these technologies because they're really, really, really important. A couple of them are, personally, I use React. This makes websites look modern and stylish. We also have the backend technologies. Languages such as Node.js, Python, Java are really good for the backend. And in order for your website to function in a way that is dynamic, you could use a couple of databases out there. So we have databases such as MySQL, MongoDB, Cassandra. There are a whole lot of databases out there that can be used to uh, uh, power up your website. There's some websites which are open source, and if you need more advanced databases, there are also these types of databases, but commercial ones. However, I don't really see much difference because some of these open source databases are really good, and big tech companies still use these databases. Now, um, if you want to become a developer, you could choose either to specify on front end development or back end development. However, for the job market, most developers ought to go into full stack development, which makes you skilled in both front end and back end, which is actually good. It's actually good because you are able to understand both the development of the front end and the back end, and the um, logic that goes into creating that website. I'm gonna take you through a very basic web development workflow just to get started. If you want to develop a website, you could, you know, the first stage is um, planning stage, and this is where you get to define your goals. This is where you design layouts. This is where you understand um, what you want to achieve with the website, and the business model. Um, Now the next stage is development phase. This is where you bring your design layout into actual code. This is where during using different web technologies, you are able to code the actual design into an actual website. Now after the development phase, we go into testing phase, where you check compatibility and fix issues that might occur in that website, or if the developed website actually meets your goals. You could do a little bit of tweaking um, until these websites serves your purpose. Now when the if you're fully satisfied with what you've developed, we go into a deployment phase. This is where you upload the files of your website to a hosting server so that they can be accessed by everyone over the internet. Um, and this deployment can be used with different servers available in the market. Um, I would highly recommend Skyfall Cloud um, for hosting, or rather for uploading your files in order to be accessed by everyone over the internet. You could visit cloud.skyfall.com for more information. Um, what are the key takeaways from this course? Now, from this course, you should be able to understand basics of web and core technologies. Um, and I would really urge you to stay connected with us. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share this video for future tutorials. And I also challenge you to build your own simple web page, and experiment with our server. See how it's easy for that to happen. Um, Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you got so much value from watching this video. You could share your feedback, your comments, get back to you as soon as possible. So stay safe, and see you in the next video.